As the new leader of the Decepticons, I command you to subscribe to Spurs in Focus.
Welcome to a live episode of Spurs in Focus right here on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Podcast. The list goes on and on. We thank you for taking time out of your schedule to join us here after a Spurs loss in Game 4. We're going to be talking about that today. The guy next to me, you see him. He is Mr. Rudy Campos with The Sports Answer. He's on X at The Sports Answer. I am on X at Jeff G Spurs Zone. And my name is Jeff Garcia, longtime Spurs writer in San Antonio. Yeah, if you're expecting a Spurs win, yeah, probably not. The Spurs lost Game 4 in Minnesota, 114-109. Already our predictions are shot now, so there goes that. But there will be a Game 6. Oh, you called 6. That's right. You called 6. I called 5. Yeah, I called 5. So my prediction is shot now. Rudy's prediction is still on the edge there. But we're going to break down what exactly happened in the Spurs loss to Minnesota. It was close despite not having Wembanyama for the bulk of the game. Now, if you're living on a rock, you probably did not hear this, but yeah, Wemby got ejected. We're going to talk about what got him ejected, turning point of the game, standout stats, standout players, if any, and our general overview of what happened in Minnesota in Game 4. I guess, Rudy, let's not bury the lead. The big story coming out of Game 4 is Wembanyama got ejected. Yeah, he got ejected in the first half. Why? Because, the video proved it, and even Dylan Harper reacted to it. Wemby loaded up, cocked an elbow back, and just threw an elbow at Naz Reid in the throat, sending Naz Reid to the court. Refs kind of talked about it for a bit. Wemby went to the bench, and, well, he got ejected. And let's just say the Wolves took advantage of that. Your reaction to it, Rudy, I mean, look, he had to get ejected, man. I mean, there was no doubt about it. He had intent behind that elbow.
Absolutely, man. And I understand his frustration. He was getting hacked throughout the first part of the game. Some of the other Spurs were too as well. But when McDaniels did pop him in the head as he was coming down, and he kind of went off the edge, man. Some players do. If you're getting hacked left and right to start the game, you're going to get a little bit frustrated. Mm-hmm. He got frustrated, and absolutely, Jeff. I mean, we can take off our Spurs hats. We can take off the fandom hat. He loaded that elbow, and he just nailed Naz Reid. So that was a frustration foul. Is it going to cost him another game? We'll find out. But absolutely, once I saw it, I knew he was going to be ejected. Even when I saw it live, you don't do that, man. And again, it's not immaturity, it's frustration. Mm-hmm. He actually, what's funny was he went to the bench. He was talking to Harrison Barnes. I don't know if anybody caught that. And he kind of asked what happened. The reason being is because a foul like that overseas is not normally an ejection foul. It is a flagrant foul, but a lot of times it's more physical over there. So it's kind of like, okay, it's a flagrant foul. You get a technical foul, but sometimes they're not ejected overseas. Now he's getting a taste of the NBA playoffs, getting a taste of the NBA when it comes to something like this. So, the ejection, I mean, well warranted, man. I mean, it was going to happen.
Yeah, look, he cocked back, man. There is no doubt about it. He went for it. And there's a viral
piece.
Yeah, exactly. There's a viral video and images of Dylan Harper even reacting. He's going like, whoa. So he knew that Wemby did cross the line with that elbow to Naz Reid. And look, he has to protect himself. Mitch Johnson talked about that. Dylan Harper talked about that after the game, that he has to protect himself. And look, if you even look at the play in what happened when Naz Reid and McDaniels were on him, McDaniels was literally holding on his arm, like holding his arm back. He's getting hacked left and right. Obviously, you're going to get frustrated. Rudy would get frustrated if he's at the local gym and somebody's hacking him the whole night. It happens. And I don't think Rudy would be as kind as and forgiving as Wemby may have. That elbow may have turned to a fist if it was maybe Rudy Campos there. But nevertheless, no, he deserved the ejection, and boy, did he earn it. So now, will this league suspend him? Don't know. There's a lot of precedents that no. Case in point, Draymond Green. Draymond Green can stomp a guy in the face and tear his eyeballs out. I'm like, nah, foul. Go ahead, play on. Or the other side of things, we've seen the NBA go the extreme and say, oh, no, that warranted a suspension. We shall see. Now, Mr. Johnson, after the game, did address what happened to Wemby, saying that, yes, it was physical, that he had to protect himself. And he went on to say that he believes there was no intent behind the elbow throw. Harper said the same thing. Had to protect himself. He didn't see any intent. I get it, Rudy. That's their guy. They're going to say that. That's probably a message to the league. Like, no, there was no intent. But would you be surprised, though, if the NBA suspends him?
Oh, man. You know what? I'm going to be surprised if they do suspend him. A part of me says he's going to get suspended. And the reason why is because the intent was there and the way that he just cocked his elbow and nailed Nasri.
Yeah.
Say this way, he knew what he wanted to do and he did it. So
he did. Yeah.
I think if the league looks at it that way, you're probably looking at a suspension for game 5. Will they suspend him? I'm going to say no, Jeff, because remember, we're in a league where it's a little bit, not as physical and it's more player driven. So you are in the NBA playoffs. You don't want to be without one of your star players, especially, after last year when you saw Tatum go down with an injury, Ant had injury problems at the beginning. You want to keep your stars in there. Why? Because when the stars play, then the viewership is up. So I think Wemby does play game 5. He's probably going to get a hefty fine.
Yeah, he will. Yeah.
Probably. Can we maybe say a 6-figure fine? Maybe 150,000, maybe $100,000 fine. So I think it's going to be a significant fine. I think he does play game 5, but if they come out and say he is suspended for game 5, I wouldn't be shocked at all. Yeah. But I mean,
me neither.
It kind of. Let me ask you. I mean, you being the league official, if you're Adam Silver and his gang up there. Looking at that, I mean, do you look at it as, okay, he did have the intent, he did foul him hard, or do you come down on him the way they did on Meta World Peace when he hit James Harden? I mean, that was, I think, a 6-game suspension. Yeah. I mean, granted, Harden was a little bit more injured than Nas Reed was in that case.
I'm going to say no, because Meta World Peace had a reputation, a history of that, and he didn't learn his lesson. This is the first time we've ever seen Wemby lose control. Show some basketball immaturity at this level. So I don't think the league will go that far. If the league does, it will be one game. Now, that will be huge if that happens. But again, I don't think so. The only reason I can even fathom is the NBA just wants to send a message to the rest of the teams in the field. Like, hey, if we could do this to Wemby, our next face of the league, we're going to do this to you. So stay, clear of any shenanigans on the court. That's the only reason why I can think of. But no, I'm agree. I think there will be a hefty fine, if anything at all. Mitch Johnson said if there's anything beyond just what happened, it would be quote unquote ridiculous. Now, again, that's his guy. He has to step up for him. Totally understand. And by the way, everybody, if you're just tuning in, we're going to get to the game itself. But we couldn't bury the lead and talk about Wemby's ejection.
Exactly.
Do you think Wemby cost the team the loss?
Oh, man. No, I don't think so.
You don't think so? Yeah, me neither.
Only reason why is because, he went out and they kept it very, very close. Well, I mean, I think they even led for most of the game, if you're thinking about it. So it wasn't that he got knocked out and they got the loss. Honestly, the loss just basically came down to Minnesota hit key shots and they got some, and I'm not calling the Spurs, whatever, but they got away with a few calls, and it happens. But you and I said that when the game was going back to Minnesota in games 3 and 4, the refs are going to favor the home team a little bit more, and they will get some home cooking calls. And it happened tonight. They got a couple of favorable calls, and Minnesota just hit shots. Spurs went a little cold. I mean, look at the very end of the game. I mean, they kept it close. They were able to get a steal off of DeSumo. I mean, they were able to do what they have to do. The Wemby thing, let's look at it this way. This was 3 games of him being bullied by Minnesota, and it just kind of came to a head. And he threw that elbow with intent. Honestly, if you look at it another way, Jeff, could it be to send a message to Minnesota like, I'm not to be effed with right now? I
agree with you, yeah.
You've been messing with me the entire series. You know what? I'm here to play, and I'm not scared, and I'm not going to back down. So this could have been a message sent, kind of underlying.
Or the reverse too. Minnesota can say, "Hey, we can get him annoyed. We can get under his skin now. We know what we have to do that." And
Yeah.
that's simply rough him up, and he'll show his immaturity, his youthful mindset, and get himself ejected. Now, I don't think that'll happen. Dylan Harper did say after the game that he does expect Wemby to learn from this, and they got to move on. But look, I didn't want to see Naz Reid get hurt, obviously, but good on Wemby though. Seriously, good.
Yeah.
You sent the message to the Wolves, and I agree with you that you don't want to bleep with me. And as the kids say, they learned. The Wolves learned today what happens if you keep on pressing and pressing and pressing Wemby. Now, I don't think Wemby would do it again because I think he did learn the lessons. You don't want to leave your team hanging. You don't want to put him in a position where you lose your best player on both ends of the court. So I doubt that will happen again. But he did send a message to the Wolves and the physicality, and boy, was it physical. All right, let's dive into the game now. Before we get into our turning point, standout stats, standout player, what were your general observations?
General observations were something that we saw throughout the entire season, and that is, hey, they can win without Victor Wembanyama in the lineup, and especially against a very good Minnesota Timberwolves team. They had the lead, they blew the lead, and to be honest, I don't like the fact that Cornette wasn't in there because at the end of the game, they were kind of getting a little out rebounded, especially on the offensive side. I mean, Minnesota was getting some offensive boards and some second chances, and I'm thinking, why is Devin Vassell, your tallest player, on the court? It made no sense to me. You have Cornette. I mean, even Carter Bryant was playing big for against these Minnesota Timberwolves. So overall, it just shows that they can win without Victor still. I mean, like they did in the regular season, this team does not back down. All three guards, that trio of guards that we've talked about, when he's out, they can come through in the clutch. I mean, Jaren, Stephon, Dylan Harper, they all came through in the clutch. But let me throw this at you. One guy has been a key and vital point of this San Antonio Spurs team these past 3 games. Keldon Johnson finished with 4 points.
Interesting.
He's averaging almost 10, 11 points in these first 3 games. So if you get Keldon back up to that, 11-point range, I mean, Spurs are winning by 2 or 3. So there's little things that they did, that some players didn't show up really well tonight, didn't play well. But then again, when you're out without a Victor and your defense is kind of staggering a little bit, which it didn't even stagger, man. They played awesome defense. I mean, they played really good.
They did.
But I mean, there's just little things in this game. My biggest takeaway was they can still win without Victor on the court, and they're still a very scary team.
Yeah. Again, I'm gonna give you my 3 takeaways in just a few seconds. But as far as general observations are concerned, you're right. I did like what I saw from this team once Victor went out. They didn't get rattled. They didn't hang their heads. Yeah. They went out and they looked like they were even more razor focused than they were before. They're attacking the basket. The guards, can we give the applause to the guards? I mean, from Harper to Fox to Castle, they were really steadying the ship without Wemby on the court. So I give them a lot of credit. The defense went up a notch. Double teaming Ant every time he got the ball. They did not. They were saying, you know what, if Minnesota, you're going to beat us, somebody else is going to have to beat us. Yeah. And unfortunately, other people did beat them, from Naz Reid to AO. The list goes on and on. But nevertheless, I love what I saw when the team lost Victor. They rallied. Everybody stepped up. Harper even said it himself. It was the next man up mentality. And they nearly proved once again that they can win without Victor. It was close, but we're going to get into my takeaways now. So these are my 3 takeaways from the game. Let me go pull them up here for you guys. Here we go. Obviously, Wemby ejected. We already talked about that. That was a big takeaway. So we got that covered. Second one, Minnesota in the clutch. I was applauding the Spurs, Rudy, heading into tonight's game, of how well they are in the clutch. So far in clutch situations for the first few games, it was all Spurs, even in the loss to Minnesota in game 1. But in tonight's game 4, Minnesota was the better team in the clutch. It was interesting. Let me go ahead and pull it up here for you guys here. In the clutch situation, Minnesota outscored the Spurs 15-7, out-rebounded the Spurs 6-4. And And they went to the free throw line 3 times. I'm sorry, they went to the 3 times, and they made all 3. And they just did the little things. 1 extra offensive rebound in clutch. I mean, seriously, I mean, they just really took command in those final few minutes with the Spurs. Second chance points in the clutch situation, Minnesota 4, Spurs 0. That was one of my biggest takeaway. I thought, okay, the Spurs, you've proven you can rise up. The stats show that in the clutch, you guys are good. One of the better teams in the field. Not tonight versus Minnesota. And because of the 3-point shots, they were just not falling. Minnesota was knocking them down. Look at the 3-pointers on the night. Minnesota connected on 10 3-pointers, while the Spurs connected on 6. That's a little bit of a difference there, why the Spurs lost a narrow game. One of the many reasons, but that's one of the bigger ones there. So 3-pointers were not falling. Rudy, I'm going to leave that up there for you for a little longer, and everybody else tuning in. What do you think about those takeaways?
Yeah, the 3-point shot, I mean, it wasn't as horrible as a lot of people may seem it was. They both ended up, Spurs shot 26 threes, Timberwolves shot 27. Wolves knocked down 4 more than that. I like the 3-point shot because, remember, if they knock down a 3, if Champagny knocks down a couple of 3s there, I mean, Spurs are obviously running away with this game and key points. The minutes in the clutch, I like that one as well. The clutch part that I saw was they played hard until the end of the game, and that was very, very, very symbolic of how this team has been playing all year. They play with no quit. They play with all grit, and they don't just stop, man. If they're down 6 or 7 and there's 20 seconds left, they still feel like they have a chance to win a game. So I love that, coming in the clutch part of the game in the fourth quarter, they're just not going to quit. The Wemby ejection, I think you might bring it up later. I'll bring it up for you right now. One thing that Mitch Johnson said on his press conference, and as I quote, I just think the amount of physicality people play with him, at some level, you have to protect yourself. At some stage, he should be protected. And if not, he's going to have to protect himself. That's Mitch Johnson. And that's kind of what I said a little while ago. We had a couple of comments that came in about it. And that's what I was saying, is that he got beat up so much in these first 3 games, getting pushed to the ground, just getting knocked around. Eventually, he's going to just go ballistic, and that's what he did tonight. The Wemby ejection was huge, Jeff, but it's not the turning point of the game, because if it was, the Spurs would have been blown out, man. I mean, we saw when Wemby went out against Portland with the concussion, Spurs fought the entire game. When he was out with injury in the regular season, they fought, and they actually, I believe, had above 500 win, record without Wemby. So him going out is not the turning point of the game for me at all. There's other parts of the game where I felt that the game was turned around, but all in all, the takeaways for Game 4, I love what you have. The one takeaway that I'm going to give for the fans out there was a positive. I'm going to be positive about it.
Okay.
Steals, man. They were able to beat Minnesota 13-5 on steals. Shows the aggressiveness of Stephon Castle, the guards. Everybody was playing the passing lanes very, very well. That's the reason why they were still able to be, in the game against Minnesota, and also keep highlighting it, man. They held Minnesota to 7 fast break points again. They have not been able to get above that 7 fast break points again. So Spurs do some things right. I mean, I'm still looking at different options in different ways, because the one thing that teed me off was that the Spurs were kind of getting called for a little bit of ticky-tack fouls, where the Wolves, again, Steph Castle bringing up the ball, they were being physical with him at the half-court line. You saw Julius Randle always extending that chicken wing that he has when he's going to take a jump shot. So at some point, refs are going to have to either swallow the whistle for both teams or call it both ways. I don't need every call. I just need the obvious calls. If you're going to give SGA the call because someone breathes on him, then you've got to give Castle the call when they are actually physically bumping him. So there's got to be some kind of thing. That's the only complaint I have. Other than that, I love the physicality. I love the physicality. Shout out to Nas Reed. I hope you don't need to get a tooth replacement, man, because that was a very hard elbow.
Yeah. Look, we're going to get to our specifically in just a few minutes. And yes, we did not forget about you guys, Spurs and Focus fans. We're going to get to your comments. Rudy's monitoring them right now. We're going to get to that to close out the show. I know they lost. I get it. But there are some silver linings in these two games. They regain home court advantage back, right? They just got to get one. They got it. All right, so yay. They come back to at least to have a game 5 in San Antonio. So then they have an advantage to try to put some pressure on the Wolves in game 6. Yes, there will be a game 6 in Minnesota. And I like their fight. Their fight throughout even without Wemby, that fight was just impressive. And you had everybody chipping in, trying to will this team to a win. It wasn't just the 3-headed monster of the guards. They did a phenomenal job, a really good job. We'll get to that in a bit.
Yeah,
but you got contribution from Cornette, who stepped up when he got on the court. Yeah. Champagny, getting key rebounds, hitting some key shots. Just being what he does, what we've seen through the whole season. Carter Bryant coming in and doing some yeoman's work. The little things here that help them win. This was just a great team effort. It was a great team effort, and they nearly pulled it out. And the Wolves just, again, in that clutch period, that's when they just kind of took over the game. And look, I mean, Steph Castle, he did get 5 fouls, so that's a plus, right? Got 4, so there's that. But no, I mean, but when you need these guys to step up, so we'll just go one by one here. In the clutch again. It's all about the clutch in this series because they're tightly contested games so far, except for one game where it was a Spurs blowout.
Yeah.
But in the clutch, Castle, 0 points when they needed him. What about Fox? He had 2 points in the final 5 minutes of the end of the game here. What about Harper? Well, Harper, 3, so he did what he could do. But in those last 5 minutes of the game, though he did 3 points there, he was a minus 14. 2 turnovers really hurt him in that period. But you see the signs of a young team still. When it's closing time, when your gets puckered up and you got to make some tough shots, who's going to step up? And unfortunately, we did not see that for the Spurs. But for the Wolves side, I mean, Ant Edwards, what can you say about him? Just willing the team to win. I mean, he even took a break to get oxygen. He left the bench to go get oxygen there.
Yeah.
But you got contributions from almost your entire team would help push the Wolves to the win. Rudy Gobert, 5 points in the clutch period. Naz Reid, 4 points. Anthony Edwards had 2. Ayo Dosunmu, 4. So there you have it. They got more contributions than the Spurs did. Hopefully the Spurs, they had 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, 4, 5, 7 points in the clutch time period when they needed the guys to step up the most. You are watching a live episode of Spurs in Focus. Reaction to the Spurs loss in Minnesota. Game 4 goes to Minnesota. 114-109. Series is tied at 2 games apiece. There will be a game 6. There will be a game 5 this Tuesday in San Antonio. So there's that. Hopefully you guys can go out and cheer on the Spurs. When we get back, we're going to look at some key stats. What was the turning point of the game? Rudy says it wasn't the Wemby ejection. I'm interested to see what he has to say about that. My turning point, players, standouts, players, all that good stuff. Coming up next, we're here on Spurs in Focus. You got Bullseye there. I mean, I guess he's a Spurs fan. He does wear silver and white and black uniform, right?
Yeah,
so
he does.
Maybe all this time he's been a Spurs fan.
I believe so, man. Bullseye. And you know what? If he is a Spurs fan, can we sign him so they can knock down key three-pointers when needed?
Set up Rudy perfectly there. Mm-hmm. Set up Rudy perfectly.
Mr.
All right,
down the shot.
He literally knocked down the shot. All right, Rudy. We always play this game with Rudy Campos. We have 3 categories from the game. Turning point, standout stats, standout player. He doesn't know which I'm going to go with. So let's test his game for knowledge with...
All right, standout stat. Well, I'm gonna go with we're gonna go with free throw shooting, man. 91. Okay. I have 91% for Minnesota, 78% for San Antonio. Again, the free throw shooting, the Wolves got to the line they got to the line less than the Spurs actually. So the Spurs left about 6 points on the charity stripe. I mean, think that 6 points, it's a 115, 114 win over Minnesota if they knock down their free throws. That's one of my standout stats right there. They got to be able to knock down their free throws. And Rudy Gobert knocked down a couple of free throws that he shouldn't have knocked down. So that's kind of the ones that I looked at too. The other one was I love the points in the paint, man. Again, 58-50, Spurs controlled the points in the paint. Again, without Victor Wembanyama in the lineup, they were still able to get to the basket, draw fouls, get to the rim, draw contact. I mean, everything that they've done in the past couple of games, they continue to do it. But most importantly, Jeff, the biggest stat of the night is 114-109. Oh, you're thinking, well, why is that a stat? Why is he picking the score? Because again, without Victor Wembanyama and through adversity, this Spurs team was there right to the very end. People call them a young team. Yes, they're a young team. Yes, they're inexperienced. Who cares? They're proving why they are the second best, if not the best team in the NBA, how they can go deep, at least 10 players deep on this roster if need be. They kept up with Minnesota. They scared the Timberwolves without Victor Wembanyama in the lineup. And if not for just missing a couple of shots at the very end, maybe a couple of key turnovers that they had, Minnesota getting a little bit lucky with the hand check and all this stuff and making a few baskets, we're talking about a 3-1 lead for San Antonio. So my standout stat is the final score 114-109 because, again, the Spurs played through adversity. They played through toughness, and they showed Minnesota and the league why this team does not need Victor on the court to be successful.
Yeah, that was impressive. It really was just to see them just start. It felt like there was like another gear they went to when he went out. They just, on both ends of the court, it was impressive. And I really thought they were going to pull it out. I said, "Oh my God, they're actually going to win!" Like, wow.
I texted you, like, imagine if they pull this out.
Yeah, and then that would start a whole other debate. Are they better without Wemby? Obviously, we don't know. All right, my standout stat is something that's been key for the Spurs and the Wolves, but this time the Wolves won the battle of second chance points. That's my standout stat. 24 second chance points for the Wolves to the Spurs 15. That, you needed to limit the Wolves' second chance opportunities. The Spurs did not do that tonight, and they won that battle. Why do I bring it up? Because as Dylan Harper said, and they said this team is learning this, it comes down to the little things. And you're right. You talked about some of the things, the turnover here in the clutch moment when the game was on the line cost the Spurs. Giving Wolves second chance opportunities cost the team a W in Minnesota. Little things like that definitely can bite you in the butt, and it did. It wasn't a blowout loss for the Spurs. Keep that in mind. This was not a blowout loss. They nearly pulled it out without Wemby. It came down to the final minutes of the game. Unfortunately, those final minutes, the Wolves were the better team. But this is how crucial it is. Time leading. The Spurs actually led for most of the game. They led 23, I got it right here, 23 minutes and 12 seconds to the Wolves 21 and 11. But what's the difference? The little things. And that's one of the little things, second chance points. Unfortunately, the Spurs were on the losing end of that battle. All right, what's our next category? Because I'm just interested in what Rudy has to say. All right, you've been teasing us all the whole freaking show, Rudy, that, it's not Wemby getting ejected. That's not the turning point.
Wemby getting ejected is not the turning point for me. I think the turning point for me was the last minute of the game. I mean, that's it. Spurs were in there the entire game. They were leading for majority of the second half as well. So the turning point for me was the end of the game where I felt that Devin Vassell was your center. And I understand Mitch Johnson's thinking you want to get scorers in there. You need shooters because you got to get points fast. Well, they did their job defensively. They got a couple of stops. They just couldn't get the rebounds. And when you've got a guy like Julius Randle and Naz Reid in there, they're a lot taller than Devin Vassell, who's your tallest player on the court. That was my turning point when they were able to get what you mentioned a little while ago for your stats, those second chance points. It turned into an and one bucket, or it turned into a regular, 2-point shot, something like that. So that's where I think Minnesota kind of pulled away a little bit there. You got the Spurs within 3 points, and then all of a sudden they were able to get a stop, and then boom, they get a rebound, they get another opportunity, they score the basket. So That's my turning point. It's very late in the game. It's the last minute. Wemby's ejection, nothing to do with it. And we had a comment a little while ago from a guy that said, Spurs fans are justifying Wemby's elbow. Jeff and I, from the very beginning, from when we started this show, said no. He cocked it back and he nailed Nas Reed. That's on Wemby. That really is on Wemby. We're not justifying anything there. But my turning point is that last minute. They had opportunities to win the game. They just didn't have a rebounder, and that kind of killed them. We saw that against Portland when he had Carter Bryant that one game, and they were just getting out rebounded. I think it was game 2 when the Spurs lost. They kept getting out rebounded, second chance points. That's my turning point, that last minute of the game.
Yeah, I'm going to go with you as far as the last period of the game, but I'm going to go a little earlier in that fourth period. I'm going to go about midway with about 6 minutes and 17 seconds left in the frame. The score was 97-91 Spurs.
Yeah.
Right? So you're seeing, okay, well, they're seemingly in control. They just got to keep that stiff arm out on the Wolves, and they should be good. But no. It went from the 6 minute 17 point of the game till about 29 seconds left in the game. At that point, it was 112-105, Minnesota with the lead. So it would quickly turn like that. Plus 13 run for the Wolves. In that run for Minnesota, at Edwards, 7 points.
Yeah.
Gobert, Nas Reed, 4 points each. De'Aaron Fox, fans are going to be like, I thought he was Mr. Clutch. He goes 1 for 4 from the field in that time frame there where Minnesota went on that massive run. Okay. And the Wolves got to the free throw line 6 times. They made all 6 free throws, while the Spurs went 3 for 9 from the field in that run. That was a turning point in the game because, as I read to you, the Spurs were in control, but things fell off fast in that final frame. In literally from about 6-ish minutes left to about 29 seconds left, it just fell apart for the Spurs. Yeah. So there you have it. And look, I think they'll learn. I think they're going to come out. Well, at this point, Rudy, by the way, we're going to talk about Game 5 on tomorrow's episode of Spurs in Focus. But I'm at now, like, are we at a coin toss now for these two teams now? You don't know who can win? Are we there already?
No, I don't think so. I mean, Spurs have the better team. I mean, I'm not gonna. If Minnesota was a better team, I would gladly say Minnesota is a better team. Yeah. Minnesota is not the better team. San Antonio is the better team. Again, it's when we went out. That's a difference maker. It's not a turning point so much. It's a difference maker.
Yeah.
But I think it was the substitutions towards the end of that game. I get why you want to have the scorers out there. You want the shooters out there, but you're handicapping yourself when it comes to rebounding. So I understand the reason behind it. And I'm not going to argue it as to why you didn't have a 7-footer out there for rebounding purposes. I'm not going to argue it, but it makes me wonder, like, okay, you needed to score quick, yet you weren't really scoring quick, if that makes any sense right there. But no, I mean, to be honest, there's no coin flip. I mean, I had the Spurs winning in 6. This is falling right into play. They'll come back in Tuesday. I believe they will probably end up blowing Minnesota out in Game 5. Right. And then Game 6, I think, is where it's going to be another close game. You won't see Wemby throw another elbow. If he does, it's going to be an elbow maybe after the fourth quarter buzzer is there and they get into a little scuffle or something. But no, the Spurs are the better team, man. I mean, remember, Jeff, I told you that the NBA champion is going to come out of this bracket. So it's either Minnesota or San Antonio, your champions. Spurs fans, I hope it's San Antonio.
Okay, Rudy, just totally forget about the Thunder, the defending champs.
They have not impressed me at all. All year they've not impressed me. Yeah, best record. I mean, Jeff, if you and I were to be on the Thunder squad and you and I were able to get away with murder, we'd probably be pretty damn good in the league too. So
yeah, and their strength of playoff schedule is weak.
Very. Yeah. You play a Phoenix team that had really no business to be in the playoffs. Yeah. I mean, it was kind of a complimentary playoff appearance. And then you play against the Lakers squad with no Luka Doncic. And of course, everybody was high on when they signed DeAndre Ayton. I pretty much just closed the book on any Laker chance they had. And now you've got Laker fans like, we need to get rid of Ayton. I mean, you should have never got Ayton to begin with. So Oklahoma City's had the easier path.
Yeah, well, we're going to talk about that as well on tomorrow's episode of Spurs in Focus. We have Hector Ledesma on deck, so I look forward to having a
Yeah, I
chat
went
with
to
him.
school with that guy. He graduated with me.
Oh,
Yes.
that's right. Yeah, I forgot about it. Well, all three of us went to the same high school. Just
Sure did.
I'm the oldest one of all three of us, everybody. Yeah. Yeah, that sucks to know that. All right, let's go. Yeah, so I gave my standout turning point. So we've got one more category left. Here it is.
Yeah, of course. I always go with De'Aaron Fox, and I call him the Sandman, and people know why I call him the
You
Sandman.
have his jersey underneath your shirt there?
I do not know. It's just a regular black shirt. Everybody knows me. I like to wear black shirts. Tonight, my standout player is the one, the only, the first year wonder, but plays like his pops, in year 20 or whatever. That is Dylan Harper. 24 points, 7 rebounds, 1 assist, had 2 turnovers, but key 3 steals. I mean, Dylan Harper just again impressed everybody. And
Mm-hmm.
it's so crazy how I have to keep reminding all you NBA fans out there that don't know the game like me when I say Dylan Harper should have been the number 1 pick in this year's draft. Should have been the pick in that draft. And if he's on any other team, you're talking about a rookie of the year. There's no doubt in my mind. So he shows why he's going to be one of the better players on this team. He shows why he's going to be a superstar in this league. He's doing it.
Superstar, everybody. He says superstar. You heard it here.
I'm saying superstar. He's going to be a superstar in this league. And he's doing it on the biggest stage of them all, the NBA playoffs right now. Once the Spurs kind of dismantle the Wolves and decide, you know what, let's go toy and mess around with the Thunder, he's going to be doing it on the biggest stage of all, which is the NBA Finals. But my standout player is Dylan Harper again. This kid, you think you almost get the Wemby vibes. Like he's having a really good rookie season. Wemby is, and then it's like, God, what more can Dylan? Oh my God! Well, Dylan comes back with 24. Dylan comes back. You're getting those same kind of vibes. This trio is going to be huge for the future. But for tonight, Dylan Harper is my standout player.
Yeah, 24.7 rebounds, 1 assist. He did that in 27 minutes in the loss to the Wolves. 70% shooting from inside the three-point line as well. Very, very good. Took 1 3-pointer, made it.
Yeah.
The only thing I would question you picking Harper is he was a minus 14 for the game. A minus 14. So according to the plus minus stats, he hurt the team more than he helped.
So okay, I'm gonna be stupid on this. The plus or minus. Is it literally plus or minus for a player, or is it plus or minus for you because of who you're on the floor with?
Wait, say that one more time. One more time, please.
So the plus or minus, it's basically how your team performs while you're on the court. But if a player's doing their job and your 4 teammates are sucking it up on the court, then your plus or minus goes in the negative section is what I'm assuming. I've never really understood the plus or minus. I'm not going to lie. I didn't study. Well, I studied all the basketball with the exception of when they started doing the plus. I don't even know the LeBron stat. I know there's a stat named after LeBron, which is ridiculous, but whatever.
So the simplest way to think of plus minus is this. What is the net change in the score when that player is either on or off the court? So in this case, when he was on the court, the score is just flipped to minus 14. Now, that's probably a contribution of a lot of things, but according to the stat here, he got hit for a minus 14 because he had 2 turnovers in the game. And so we got it here too. And 2 fouls. So I think that kind of hurts as well. You're not being on the court for the team. So those little things go into it. But it's funny you mentioned that because then you look at a guy like Steph Castle, who is my standout player for the Spurs, 20.6 rebounds, 4 assists in 36 minutes. He was a plus 8. But you look at the difference, he only had 1 turnover, so that doesn't hurt his plus minus. And actually, according to the plus minus way, the net change went up by 8 points when he was on the court. So that's the quick and dirty way. It's a lot more complicated than that, but that's just the quick and dirty way to do that. What else? 8 for 17 from the field, 55% shooting from inside the 3-point line, and he goes 2 for 6 from the 3 line. 1 steal, 4 fouls, still got us in some foul trouble. So, but at least he didn't get 5 or more and get ejected. So there's that. But no, he is my standout player. It felt like he wanted to take the team on his shoulders. doing what he does best, being that bulldog in the paint, getting to the rim, getting the fouls. He hit a couple of clutch shots as well throughout the game. So he is my standout player for the night. All right. There are our thoughts on the game, our take on Wemby getting tossed. Rudy said that, I think, do you applaud Wemby for defending him, or you frown on him for doing it?
I like the toughness. I applaud him for doing it because he's been bullied this entire series. And actually, I mean, he's been bullied almost the entire career. People are stopping him like that. So came to a head, he fought back. I don't applaud the fact that he did it Ron Artest or Meta World Peace style. But I also understand why. When you're frustrated, you just got hit on the head. Jaden McDaniels is grabbing your arm. You're pulling away from him. Hey, Nas, I'm sorry your head was there. I'm going to nail you anyway. It just shouldn't have happened, but it did. I just hope that the league doesn't look at it and say, hey, this was very ill intent and we're going to have to suspend you, which if they do, then I would definitely really look at this league in a whole different way. And it wouldn't be positive.
You own a DeLorean time machine. Can you go find out what happens?
Unfortunately, I don't have fuel, which I know banana peels and garbage or what it is, but
you gotta put it into the Mr. Fusion. That was the name of the contraption, Mr. Fusion.
Yeah, Mr. Fusion.
So but seriously, give us your thoughts on, again, like I said, Wemby getting tossed, that elbow he threw at Nas Reed. Just your general takeaways from the Game 4 loss to Minnesota. Once again, that score was 114-109. Series is now tied 2 games apiece. And who was your standout player? What are your standout stats? And what was the turning point for you? Was it the Wemby ejection? We didn't hit on that. Let us know what you think. All right, to close out the show, as always, we'd like to hear what you're saying in the chat. Rudy's been monitoring the whole show. Rudy, what we got?
Okay, appreciate everybody. 400 plus viewers on right now. So we appreciate you joining us on. For
Rudy, I paid all 400 of those people to come on. That's the reason why.
I'm glad you did, man, because I don't have any more money after your free Substacks. We've got Hadrinus in here, after using the F word, but he's calling it a disaster of a night. Tim Gonzalez says Wemby will coming in with vintage on Tuesday night. So I think he might be. Yeah. Tim is also saying, does the Wolves? Jeff, the Wolves are much better than the 99-01 Wolves team. Those are the Stephon Marbury and Garnett. Who else was on those teams? Golly.
No, Rashad McCants, right? Or is that after them?
Oh, no. McCants is way after that.
Way after?
Was that?
Sprewell. Sprewell was on there.
I think Sprewell might have been on one of those Wolves teams.
Yeah,
Sprewell. I don't know why Eldon Campbell is running through my head. I don't think Eldon Campbell was on that Wolves team. I don't know. I think this Wolves team
Richardson was on that team.
Maybe Pooh Richardson was on that team. Got to go back and look at some of that stuff.
Yeah.
As a Spurs fan, I feel good about where we're at. We played very well without Wemby this year, sparing us for OKC. Let's go Spurs. Definitely, we both agree a battle-tested Spurs is even more dangerous. This game was up for grabs. Awesome effort. On to the next. Wemby going crazy after missing this game. Tim said this was like a 12-round boxing match.
It felt like it. It felt like it.
Really did. We don't want the refs' help. We just want the obvious calls to be called, or are going to have to snatch this series right off from the Wolves' hand on their court game.
As they say, Rudy, don't leave the game in the ref's hand, man. Leave no doubt.
I truly get that. And then Cody's in here, says, man, some of these Spurs fans reacts, not this one, are so juvenile and cringe, really blaming everybody but Spurs, even justifying Wemby's elbow scratch.
We didn't do that. We didn't justify it.
I think what he's saying, because of the fan reacts, you probably have fans doing other podcasts or spaces, maybe even Spurs react shows or something. Again, if they think that, Wemby was justified throwing elbow and all that, that's on them. Jeff and I, we really truly believe that he should not have done that. Put his team in a very difficult situation. But again, could it have been that he was sending a message? I mean, that's kind of what we said. A couple more. If Vassell makes at least 2 threes, we win the game. 3 points.
Hey, and just real quick to react to that one. You're right. If Vassell makes it, but it was a team though. If Fox makes more of his shots in that run that Minnesota had. He was 1 of 7 in that run. It's not good if Harper doesn't have those 2 turnovers or a turnover in clutch period. So it all goes. But I get what you're saying. But look, you can't win them all. And good news is that there's still 3 more games left, if well, at least 2 for sure, to decide this. So the Spurs still got their chance.
I'll say real quick before we end this and go to the next couple of comments here was when you know the Spurs are going to win when Julian Champagny's knocking down a couple of threes. He was over 5 tonight, so his shot was definitely off. He shot 2 for 8 from the field. Remember, he was one of the guys that we highlighted before this series to be a difference maker. If he's knocking down those shots, Spurs are going to win this game running away hands down. Yeah. Wemby didn't act like he was in a UFC match. We win this one. I don't know about that.
I think we do. I think the Spurs win this if Wemby's out there.
I think they win it. They do win it. They win the game. But again, with him not being out there, Jeff, I mean, they should have won this game as is. Jeff, are you a betting man? Will Wemby first shoot in game 5 a dunk, 3-pointer, jump shot, or free throw?
I'm gonna go with free throws.
Dylan Harper had Minnesota ready for a quiet for a minute. He almost quieted him down. They hope Wemby will be out there on game 5, and then the last one, everyone stay safe. It's starting to pour. San Antonio is getting rain right now. We're getting rain.
For real? I was down. I live in downtown San Antonio, and I don't see it here, but I guess it's coming this way.
It's easy when Jeff is Wilson Fisk, and he's the kingpin of San Antonio. And he's got those.
Just when you said that, seriously, I kid you not. Just when you said that, thunder started rolling in right now.
See, AC/DC coming for Jeff here, man. Appreciate all the comments again. 400 plus in the reviews tonight. Nice. Appreciate everybody joining us.
Is this an all-time record for us? Because remember the other last live show, I said I was deliberately delaying on purpose so I could get to 400, and it happened. And it's okay. We got to go by. I think we eclipsed it.
We've been steady at 412, 413 for the past. At least 10, 15 minutes, maybe even 20
Thank you,
minutes.
Mom, for pressing live all the time for 400 times on Mother's Day. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, thanks.
By the way, happy Mother's Day to everybody. Yeah, happy Mother's Day. Yeah.
Happy
What'd
Mother's
you get for your mom there, Rudy?
We ended up getting nothing but cakes. We got her some chocolate covered strawberries, got her a card. And you know what? I'm gonna throw it out there, Jeff. I paid her property tax today.
Now that is a gift.
I saved money and I paid her property tax. So love you, Mom. I'm broke, so you may need to give me some food or something for this week. But
there you go. Ramen noodles are on the way to Rudy Campos' house right now. You know, so my mom has this favorite spots that she loves to go to on Southtown, right? So, you know, I do my errands. You know, I wrap up around 3 or 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
And I call her. I said, "All right, you ready to go to the said place that you love to go on?" She's like, "Yeah, hang on." And I hear muffle. She goes, "We can't go. Your dad, he took a laxative."
Oh man.
I go, "What do you mean you can't go?" She's like, "No, I want all of us to go out to dinner, and if dad can't go, we all don't go, basically." And so I go, "Okay, fine. Well, what do you want?" So she wanted some seafood. That was her backup. She said she doesn't like Mexican food delivered. I found this fascinating. I said, "Well, I'll pick it up for you, and I'll bring said restaurant to you." Mm-hmm. And she goes, "No, she goes, I don't like how Mexican food is delivered." Is that a thing? I didn't know that's a thing.
Getting it delivered or not wanting it delivered?
No, just getting it. No, getting it delivered. She said it comes out mushy.
I've never had Mexican food delivered, so I won't. Yeah. I don't know, but maybe so, man. I mean, honestly, I don't. There's 2 things I don't do. I don't trust Uber and DoorDash because I don't like my food in other people's hands. But
I see.
Also, I don't like paying, for my $12 Chipotle bowl, $28 for a delivery. And I mean,
how much was it?
Yeah. So I don't like all that.
So I get to my parents' house. I'm like, "Dad, you had to do that, right? You just had to do that." He's like, "I needed to clean myself out."
On Mother's Day of all days, right?
Of all days, he picked. Well, wait, we brought her some seafood from her favorite seafood place in San Antonio. We did that. She loves kettle corn, so we got her a big old bag of kettle corn. Yeah, and then some jewelry, some cookies from this place that way out there near the rim. It's like some chocolatier place. It's far from downtown San Antonio, but no, she had a good Mother's Day, and she spent the day with her granddaughter the other night. What did he say there?
Says Rudy, this ain't Denver. Your pick to win the title. Get over it, sucker. I've been over the Denver pick. I guess.
Man, fans are getting the last shot at you, Rudy.
Oz Estrada. Yeah, when Denver lost, man, that was my title pick. I said the Spurs were going to win it. That was my new pick. But trust me, I've been over the Denver pick since they
Yeah.
lost, man. So yeah,
All right.
he's joining the show. I love it. Join the show.
Yeah.
We got a lot. We can talk a whole lot more, man.
Yeah.
We can talk a whole lot more.
Yeah, exactly. We could go all night, but we got to go. Yeah, we're going to end it on a laxative take. That's what we're going to do right now. No, once again, your Spurs, unfortunately, did not get the win in Minnesota. 114-109, losing to Minnesota Timberwolves. Series is tied 2 games apiece. Game 5 is this Tuesday at the Frost. There will be a Game 6. Hopefully, the Spurs can put all the pressure heading into that Game 6 with a win in Game 5. But again, we got to hear from you. What do you think about our takes, our thoughts, standout stats, turning point, et cetera, et cetera? Let Rudy know on X at The Sports Answer. Let me know on X at Jeff G Spurs Zone. Subscribe to Spurs in Focus Substack. It's completely free. Rudy put down a down payment of $1,000.
I did.
He said there's $1,000 balance. Everybody who subscribes, he pays for it. So go do that right now. Take advantage of that money that Rudy has on the floor right now. Go subscribe. Just Google Spurs in Focus, and there you have it. Be part of the crew. Subscribe to Spurs in Focus on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, Pocket Cast, Amazon Podcast, YouTube Music. Do that right now. Spurs in Focus should be your first and only spot for all things San Antonio Spurs. Your first listen, your first watch. Every single time you need to talk San Antonio Spurs, just watch San Antonio Spurs stuff. Ignore all the other ones you see out there. You want to come here to Spurs in Focus. We'll be back tomorrow as the Spurs playoff push continues. We have on deck Hector Ledesma. So we're going to be talking about Game 5 and so much more. So for Mr. Rudy Campos, I am Jeff Garcia, and now you're in focus with Spurs in Focus.